Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. Today I just wanted to give some reflections that I have on the case. As we sit and wait for jury watch and hope that the jury is working through the evidence and looking closely at all the witness testimony so that they can find clarity and do the right thing. Abby and Libby deserve nothing less. The families of Abby and Libby deserve nothing less. And Richard Allen deserves nothing less. In this great country of ours, and today of all days on Veterans Day, we remember those who have sacrificed so much and given so much to this great nation of ours, our veterans. My hat goes off to all of you. To the veterans that I know in this community, Ruckus Rocks, Frank Meister, and anyone else that I may have missed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am a military wife of a man who served for 35 years and retired. And I know what it's like to be that woman left at home when they go off on their deployments. And it is not easy trying to run a household alone and raise children alone while your husband is off in a foreign land and most possibly and usually in harm's way. The same with the wives who are service members who go off and leave their children. My heart just aches for you. So we remember you today. I woke up this morning thinking about the case as I have most every morning for the past 8 years, nearly 8 years. This case has become so important to me and to others who have followed it so religiously. I've gotten to know some amazing people. And yesterday I was invited to be on a live stream where we all got together and discussed the evidence in this case. Some of these people will be lifelong friends of mine. They are amazing individuals who have integrity beyond integrity. They have brought to this case so much. And my hat goes off to all of them. I am so happy that Tom Webster put together the live stream and had us all together on one panel. It was an amazing experience. I learned so much. And like I said yesterday, this is all about Abby and Libby and justice for them. It's not about any of us or one of us or growing a YouTube channel. I didn't come to YouTube to grow a YouTube channel. I came over from Reddit after making my Reddit sub for the Delphi daughters because I was told that my voice was needed and that people would care about what I had to say. Nearly 9,100 people later on my channel, I am amazed that people actually listen and want to hear from me every week. This case has been frustrating. It has been anguishing at times. And for me, I go back to when it feels that way for me, I can only not even really begin to imagine what it's like for the families every single day. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. I care about your girls. I honestly care about them. I care about their legacy. I care about how they're remembered. Early on in my YouTube channel days, I watched a YouTuber, another female who I thought was covering Delphi in such an extraordinary way. And she made the comment and always said that how we tell their story matters. It's been my mantra on my channel for nearly 3 years. Because how we do tell their story matters. When you get up and you decide to sit down at your computer and open up YouTube and look for something to watch, please remember that how we tell this story truly matters. There is so much vitriol and hate around this case. I just don't understand it. I truly don't. This is real life, and these are real people, and these are real pains and aches and heartbreaks. Things that you cannot even begin to imagine unless you experience it yourself. We can try as hard as we might to put ourselves in the place of these family members, but we can't. We just can't. And for those who have created a circus around this case and made it about themselves, shame on you. For people who flew into Delphi just to pretend to cover a case they care about when they've never talked about this case in 7.5 years, and they never did anything around this case for 7.5 years, shame on you. Shame on you. For people who are rallying around a person who has been accused of one of the most horrific crimes imaginable, who has given confessions to his mother, of all people, who placed himself in the situation on the day that it happened, and people saw him. They saw this person that he described of himself as being out there at the exact same time they were there. For all of you rallying around him, shame on you. This has nothing to do with how Richard Allen was held. I'm not saying I agree with any of that, but this has nothing to do with what happened on February 13th, 2017. His mental state after the fact has nothing to do with what his mental state was on February 13th, 2017. That's why his defense did not put forth a mental health defense, because they have to be able to prove that. Stop and think about it. Stop and think about what was his mental state on February 13th, 2017. Do any of you that are rallying around him truly know? Do you really truly know the answer to that question? Do you think he was psychotic then? Those are questions that must be answered. There is a reason why a mental health defense was not put forth in this case. There is a reason why his defense attorneys didn't petition the court to have the case stopped and have him evaluated for fitness to stand trial. If they felt that this man was being so horribly treated, do you not think that that would have been the logical thing for two defense attorneys to do? I do. I know enough about the law and enough about cases to know that that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. There are so many cases that we can reference where they deemed the patient unfit mentally to stand trial. Those patients are taken to mental health facilities and rehabilitated until they are fit to stand trial. That was never done in this case. And I'm tired of people rallying around saying that Richard Allen was horribly mistreated and therefore he needs to be set free. Stop and think about what this man has been accused of. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that law enforcement just goes out and cherry picks somebody out of a community to charge with 2 horrendous killings of little girls. It doesn't happen. Name a case where it's happened. Put it down in the description below where it's happened. I'd like to see it. And for all the naysayers that are saying there was no DNA to link him, did you know that the Innocence Project says that there's less than 10% of cases have DNA in them that's usable? Less than 10%. Stop living in the TV world. This isn't Law and Order. This isn't CSI. This is real life. Law enforcement makes mistakes. Every case has mistakes. Every trial has mistakes. These are human beings. There is no perfect world and no perfect universe that I'm aware of. We really, truly need to take a look at the evidence that was presented. And you can't cherry pick certain things out of it and say, well, this leads to not guilty and this leads to guilty. You have to look at the totality of the evidence because that is how our justice system works. And the instructions that the jury has been given, that's what they're doing. They're trying to decide with the totality of the evidence on a verdict. And I believe that they will get there. I hope that they will get there. I was in court. I sat in court for an entire day, and it was emotionally draining. It was physically draining. I was absolutely exhausted. I drove 3 hours to get there, sat there for 9 hours, and then drove another hour to where I would be staying that night. It was a lot, you guys, and it was emotional to be in the courtroom and watch the proceedings and listen to the witnesses' testimony. I took over 25 pages of notes that day, and I was so tuned into everything that was being said and everything that was done. And then sitting directly behind Carrie, Libby's mom, and Becky and Kelsey and Mike, and seeing Anna out of the corner of my eye, 2 rows ahead of me, and the pain on their faces as they would listen to some of this testimony, it was a lot. I'm glad I went. To have Becky thank me and tell me how much they need our voice was all I needed to hear. It made everything that I've done over the last 7.5 years with this case worth it. No matter what the outcome is, I will accept whatever verdict comes in this case, because that's how the justice system works. I want healing for Delphi. That community deserves to have some healing, and they can't heal until this is finally over. And for the people that are flocking around and making this all about them, shame on you. Shame on you. You really need to get a life and get off of social media and find something else to do that's constructive. Hurting people and causing pain, if that's what you're about, I don't want anything to do with you. And if you guys feel that way, and that's the kind of mindset that you have, please unsubscribe from me if you're subscribed, because I don't want those kinds of people following me. I could care less what they say about me or anything. Some of the most wonderful people that are covering this case have been horribly abused and treated just ridiculously online. Horrible things said about them. by people who don't even truly know them, have never met them. Some of these people are amazing human beings that I'm speaking about, with some of the biggest hearts that you could ever imagine. Randy Gravitt has done nothing but wonderful things for Delphi. That man is a teddy bear with a heart of gold. Thank you, Randy, for the memorial walks, to remember the girls, to remember the Flora 4 girls. What an amazing man you are to have done all that you have done for Delphi and for that community all these years. I thank you. Aspen Connor, thank you. Thank you for spending all month in Delphi and bringing us reporting that we can trust out of that courtroom. Unbiased, truthful reporting of what you witnessed, what you've heard, and how it's made you feel. What an amazing man you are. I am so lucky to call you my friend, and I am so lucky that I finally got to meet you. What an amazing human being. Susan Hendricks. Thank you, Susan, for taking a month out of your life, your family's life, your children's lives, to cover this case. Your book, Down the Hill, is an amazing book from the eyes of the families that have gone through this horrific, horrific nightmare. Thank you for that. And thank you for sticking by them and being their voice. Meeting you was an absolute joy. You are everything that I thought you would be. Your integrity is unbelievable. And your kindness and your caring heart shines through. And in this day and age where people don't believe in news media, you, my friend, are the real deal. And as an investigative reporter, you are top notch. To Steve from True Crime Web, thank you so much, Steve, for everything that you've taught us through this case. Going to Delphi, doing experiments in the woods. All of the things that you've done have been amazing and have given us all a sense of better understanding of what happens in an investigation. Thank you. And thank you for everything you continue to do through your wonderful YouTube channel and your foundation to help these families who have no voice, whose cases are still unsolved. We thank you. Ruckus Rocks, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to not only the country militarily, but also your service as law enforcement. Where would we be in our community without these wonderful retired law enforcement minds to help us better understand what we're seeing and what we are experiencing? Your years of service in the jails helped us to understand what was going on when Richard Allen was being held. I will be forever grateful for that and for you. Thank you for all the work that you do and all the work you do on these cases that are unsolved. I thank you. Fig Solves. What can I say, Fig? What an amazing human being you are. I hope one day that we do meet because I would love to give you a big hug. You have been the voice of reason, the voice of competence, the voice of compassion and caring, and the voice of critical thinking. something that has been greatly lost in our society. People have forgotten how to think for themselves. You haven't, my friend. And the amazing job that you did breaking this case down, I just thank you. I thank you for that help and for all of that. To Frank Meister, my dear friend, thank you so much for everything that you've brought to this case. Your ability to talk to other people and to get people to trust you is amazing. You have, sorry guys, you have an amazing way to work your way into places that most of us would never be able to get. Your voice is resounding. People love to listen to you. You give us great insight into the motions and all of the documents surrounding this case. You became the document guy, but more than that, you became a friend. You became someone that I trust and someone that I know his heart is in the right place. The family members respect you and they know that you have their back. And whenever we cover these cases, that's so important. I firmly believe that as content creators in this genre, we should have an oath to do no harm. Yes, we need to tell the truth. And yes, sometimes the truth hurts. But to put content out simply for clicks and for salacious reasons around these true crime cases where they're actually people's lives is beyond despicable. These bottom feeders need to go away and they need to leave. And sadly, I don't ever see that happening. But we, as ethical content creators, need to call them out when we see it. It's the only way. And to not give them a platform. I've tried very hard in this case not to bash people. I really, truly have. When I could have, I just tried to take the high ground. Because again, at the end of the day, it's not about me and it's not about any of us. It's about Abby and Libby and justice. I hope one day that Delphi finds the peace and serenity that that little town had before this happened. Murder is not common in Carroll County. Murder of little girls is unheard of in Carroll County. To the men and women who have worked tirelessly on this case, thank you. You have my utmost respect. Even though mistakes were made in this investigation, I know that you had Abby and Libby and that picture of them and how they were that day in the woods ingrained forever in your brains. And you took that home every single day all these years. And trying to get to the bottom of this case and to a resolution took a lot of time and a lot of hours and a lot of dedication. As we sit and wait for the verdict, try to be patient, everyone. Realize that they have over 60 witnesses' testimony to go through, nearly 400 exhibits to look at. And that is a lot of information, a lot of information. This case is huge. There was a lot for them to consider. That's all I wanted to say today. And I really want you all to know that if I forgot you or didn't mention you, it's not because I don't care about you. Deb from Deb's True Crime Notebook, keeping us up to date on everything that's been going on in the trial every day, even when you don't feel well, is an amazing feat. And you've done it expertly. Your voice is true, factual, and it brings us to where we are today, the waiting game. Thank you again for all that you do. You guys, I'm going to sign off because I could go on and talk forever. And I was going to try and keep this short and sweet. But yes, thank you guys. Continue to have good thoughts for Abby and Libby and the families, and for clarity for the jury. It's the least that we can do. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you next time.